morning, Bridgetown Church, and any of you listening. Welcome to the Bridgetown Daily for Monday, June 8th. John Mark Comer here, but all I want to do is set up the next 2 days of daily podcasts. We today embark on our week of Lament that we are calling you as a church to, and we want to reposition the daily over the next few days just to create space for you to process anything and everything that you are feeling before God in prayer. And I asked my best friend, Dave Lomas, who's the pastor of Reality San Francisco and is a great leader on kind of the intersection of the gospel and racial justice and a multi-ethnic community. I just asked, hey, Dave, would you take our daily for a day or two, and would you pastor us into Lament? So this is my dear friend, Dave. Just let him pastor you today and tomorrow as we continue to process with God.
Hey everyone, grace and peace to you. I was asked today to kick off a week-long meditation on lament. So we'll start out our week by briefly talking about three things. What is a lament? What are we lamenting? And how can we lament? First, what is a lament? Laments are prayers and petitions that come from a felt need. They are not simply complaints or even expressions of sadness over something difficult or painful. Lament in the scriptures are a prayerful response to the reality of suffering that engages God in the context of pain and trouble. When something horrific happens in the scriptures, the response is often lament, like the book of Lamentations, which comes out of the destruction of Jerusalem, and Jeremiah the prophet laments over seeing his city destroyed. Actually, 100 out of the 150 Psalms contain lament. And so laments are not just expressing pain and loss, but are also expressing hope that God would respond to human suffering. But here's the thing. We're not good at lament. I mean, how many songs do we sing at church that are specifically lament? How many songs? Think about it. Most of our songs are songs of triumph and songs of praise. Not many of our songs share the refrain, "Why are you downcast, O my soul? Why so disturbed within me?" Not many times do we write lyrics and sing lyrics in congregational worship that goes something like, "What the heck, God? Why are there so many bad people doing horrific things in the world, God? I'm suffering. We're hurting. Please do something." But many of the Psalms read like this, where they talk about enemies, injustice, and about the misery of the human condition. See, at the heart of biblical lament is a recognition of the struggles in this life and the cries for justice against existing injustices. And what this does, what makes biblical lament the beginning of any good justice work, and what makes lament so subversive, is that lament challenges the status quo. It doesn't allow us to believe that human progress or enlightenment now is the final word or even the truest word. Lament makes us face the reality of injustice and sit in the pain of those who are most affected by it. Sung Chan Ra, in his wonderful book called Prophetic Lament, writes that, quote, "The tendency to view the holistic work of the church as the action of the privileged toward the marginalized often derails the work of true community healing. Ministry in the urban context, acts of justice, and racial reconciliation require a deeper engagement with the other, an engagement that acknowledges the suffering rather than glossing over it," end quote. This is exactly what lament does. See, some social justice work is the work of the privileged towards the marginalized, the work of the majority towards the minority. But lament is the work of acknowledgement. It's the work of wading in the water, the work of true solidarity. It's to sit in the pain, the reality, and the horror of the injustice, to acknowledge, to sit, and wait. So that brings me to our second question. What are we lamenting? Currently, we are lamenting the murders of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor, and the countless other black and brown brothers and sisters that have died in this country due to its systemic racism. We lament the church's complicity in this reality as well. We lament the fact that we live in a country so divided right now that by me even saying this, the only way we know how to listen to this, or the way that we've been socialized to hear what I just said, is only in a political way during a campaign year. Can I ask you to put political thoughts and motivations aside right now and sit in the pain of the other? I'm not even asking you to do the work of fixing any of this right now. I'm asking you to truly lament, to simply and profoundly sit in the pain of the black experience in this country. Those who are tired, exhausted, and hurting. Let's sit in their pain. Lastly, how do we lament? Well, tomorrow I'll lead you in your own lament. But for today, I want to read Psalm 13. And as I read it, I want you to think about the pain and the hurt of our family in the black community right now. So if you could place both feet on the ground, take a deep breath. I want to read this. Let's bring our lament, sit in our lament together with God. How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I wrestle with my thoughts, day after day have sorrow in my heart? How long will my enemy triumph over me? Look on me and answer, Lord my God. Give light to my eyes, or I will sleep in death. And my enemy will say, I have overcome him, and my foes will rejoice when I fall. But I trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation. I will sing the Lord's praise, for he has been good to me. Peace be with you.